What's up, everybody? This is the Unstuck Podcast, and I'm your host, Drew Cost. Do you ever feel that you're trying to be somebody else when it comes to making your content and it's just not working? I have the solution for you today. So I get this question asked a lot. What are my favorite ways of creating content or teaching about content, or what are some things people should always do? Now, I'm going to always say, follow what comes natural to you first and then challenge yourself. So I'll start off by sharing some of my favorite ways that I create content, and you can choose to not follow them as well. When it comes to creating content, I'm always going to tell people and suggest your audience wants something from you that my audience may not want. My audience wants something from me that they may not want from you. Neither is bad. It's all going to boil down to, what does your audience want from you? As a business owner, you want to think about, what do they want from you, and are you willing to give them that? As a hobbyist, it doesn't really matter. You can post and create content based on whatever you would like. So my favorite ways, I'm going to give 3 ways that I love creating content that makes sense for me. I'm a dad, husband, I do multiple things. So one of my favorite ways to create content, which helps me save time, is I call it BTS, behind the scenes. This is me doing various tasks or work. It could be me working out. It could be me working on a project. I usually do that, and I usually have it sometimes muted so that any information that I'm saying that's important to a client is not repeated. So I usually would have the camera maybe in front of me, on the side of me, behind me. It doesn't really matter, but it's behind the scenes. The reason why I like behind the scenes is because people get to realize that I am a human being. I never want to think people that I'm AI. I'm not AI. I have nothing against AI, but I am not AI. I'm a human being. I have real emotions. I take days off. I get burnt out sometimes. And I want people to know and understand that. Why would I want that, Drew? Because people do business with people who they trust and they like. If they think that I'm a mutant and that I never get a chance to back away, they may feel that they need to do that same thing, and I never want that. So behind the scenes is my top one. The second one would be just straight video. If you put me in front of a mic or a camera and you tell me to just talk, I now don't have a problem doing that. And it's because I practiced a lot of times. So when people feel that they are not good at speaking in front of a camera, it's because they haven't practiced yet at doing that. And that's perfectly fine. You can fix that. With me doing videos, I'm more comfortable with it because I'm always thinking that I'm talking to one person on the other side of the camera, not a million. If I speak in front of a crowd, it's actually easier because I get to feed off of the crowd's energy, their emotions. I get to see what's resonating. So speaking in front of a camera was hard at first, and sometimes it challenges me, but I'm always thinking I'm speaking in front of an audience of one, not an audience of 1,000. So when I do that, I don't need to put on a voice. I don't need to become the next Barry White. I don't need to do anything. I can be naturally me. That helps me out, and usually that gets the most attention from my audience because I'm resonating with them. The third way, which may be surprising, is honestly time lapse. If you have an iPhone, it's called time lapse. If you have an Android, I believe it's called hyperlapse or hypertimes. I'm not sure. I don't have an Android. And that's just doing whatever you do, putting the clock on time lapse and using that. I like to use that when I'm working and I need to go into a deep work, as my man Cal Newton would say, where I don't want any distractions or any of that. I put the phone away from me and I put it on time lapse and I have it recording me doing work. I just get lost in the work. Cool thing with this is I can use this as my post, stuff like that. I can use this as a B-roll. B-roll is when you insert some footage inside of a normal footage to give it a more a vibe or a good feeling or a good fit. It makes the video look a lot better. But with all these things, when you're creating content, the goal is to pull in the audience to you, to the solutions that you have for them. It's not so much about how perfect you are, but how you offer solutions to the people, how you engage with the people. I think nowadays we see people who are amazing at creating content, and we automatically think that we need to get to that level tomorrow. That may not happen. Or we start to think that if I'm not at their level right now, my content isn't good. Not so. My content will look a whole lot better a year from now. I'm going to be a whole lot better. Yours will look a whole lot better a year from now if you keep at it. Now, should you adopt any of those things that I said? You do not have to. As a content coach, I'm always going to say you don't need to adopt my process. My process works for me because of the season of life that I'm in right now. So it works for me. My process may not work for you. Like right now, I'm shooting this video at 4:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That may not work for you. Why does that work for me? Number one, my daughter is asleep, so I don't have to worry about her running down here. Number two, I like being up in the mornings because I'm an introvert. I like to have quietness and get things done. Three, I know at night I couldn't record with my family, my daughter running around. It would be an inconvenience to them. So that works for me. You have to find out what works for you. Once you find that out, then you can double down on that. And you find that out by trial and error. I used to find out that if I tried to run downstairs and get a quick episode in, I'd be like 9 minutes in and she would come running down in the middle of the episode and I had to scratch the whole thing or use it for B-roll. So you find out what works for you. What I would say is think about, what does consistency look like for you first? Does it look like showing up every day, every other day? I'm a big fan of, if you want to be good at something, find a way to be consistent consistently. So if I want to become better at making videos, maybe I do a video a day just for a minute. I like that more than let's do 10 minutes once a week and then never do it again, because the consistency muscle actually works when you exercise it. If you exercise it only once, you're not going to see a lot of result. Can you? Yes. As a fitness coach, when I train people in person, I would tell them, if you come to me once a week, you might see some results. I'm not going to say you're not. But if you spread it out and you come 2 to 3 times a week, you're going to see more results. That's not saying that you need to adopt that. That's a suggestion that I'm giving you based on a lot of evidence of success that I've had as a content coach in helping people out in general with content. So what does the consistency look like to you? Number 2, what are you willing to sacrifice? If you want to be good at being a business owner, having good content is one of the things you got to think about. Unless you're a Bentley or a Maserati, you got to get out there and market and show yourself and show your solution to the world. That's content. So what are you willing to sacrifice? Doesn't mean you need to sacrifice your firstborn child or sacrifice hours of sleep, but there may be some sacrifice along the journey. Number one thing you may have to sacrifice is your ability to not be prideful, not be perfect, not try to get it all together. You're gonna mess up. It's part of the journey. And the third thing I would say, why aren't you starting now? Just start with what you got, where you're at, and you'll realize, you'll start to figure things out. You'll start to get more equipment if that's your desire. You'll start to feel more comfortable, but none of it will start until you start. So if I was to give you an assignment or a challenge for today, I want you to write down, what are the top 3 ways you like making content? And then I want you to write down, what are the top 3 ways you like viewing or engaging with content? Maybe you like blogs, maybe you like vlogs, maybe you like behind the scenes. And then I want you to pick one of those things to do for the next 7 days. Pick one of those things and do it for the next 7 days. If you're gonna do that, drop your name in the comments so I can cheer you on. Get unstuck, guys, and be great. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the episode. To help us spread the word of hope, getting people unstuck, and getting people real life information, we would love if you hit the subscribe button, if you like this, and if you share this. We want to keep giving people these resources to help them change, to find hope, to live again, and you can help us. And we thank you for being here. Take care.